Hey guys, welcome back to Whiteboard Lessons. In this video, we're going to jump into how to keep your physical machine operating at top performance, so stay tuned. Most people don't realize that one of the greatest things a lot of us struggle with is actually trying to keep our physical machine actually running at top performance. What I mean by that is so many of us get involved in a lot of sugar or a lot of alcohol or a lot of all kinds of other things that may be a little bit questionable, right? All these different things unfortunately clog up everything in the body. So what I want to do is just at a very super high level, go over 5 areas that I actually personally watch in my own well-being to make sure I can keep my own physique and my body and everything running at top performance. Why? Because everything feeds the brain, okay? So we want to make sure we take the time to kind of look at that. So obviously diet is a huge part of that, right? So when you think about diet, I'm sure you've had all kinds of diet fads. There's the Atkins diet, there's, oh gosh, keto, there's lots of different things. And lots of them work for different styles of people. One of the things I want to talk about as it relates to diet today is more the basics, okay? So things to keep an eye out for, to even look at what you're doing now. For example, my team and I, just in full candid honesty, today's recording day. So today's sushi day, all right? I like to have sushi with the team on sushi day, which just happens to be recording day. Well, that's a ton of carbohydrates, all right? So it's no shortage that I have to wait to eat the majority of my sushi today because otherwise it'll slow my body down. Think about it this way. You want to have things in your overall diet that are easy for your metabolism to burn. For example, if you eat a ton of carbs, like a lot of potatoes, a lot of sushi, a lot of rice, a lot of things that we all love, a lot of bread, right? These are all things we all love. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying we probably have to pay attention to how much we're consuming. It's like throwing a big log on a fire, right? If you've ever been around a campfire, then one of the things you're going to realize very quickly is the thicker the log, the longer it takes to burn. Well, your body's very much the same way, okay? We want to put things in our body on the diet side that are going to be easier to burn. So consider it this way. Eating a sweet potato versus a baked potato, okay? Those things are going to be easier. The sweet potato will be slightly easier to burn than the baked potato over time, okay? So it's more like burning a piece of paper versus burning a log. All right, so what are some no-nos for diet? Obviously, you want to limit the amount of fried foods you eat, okay? You want to limit the amount of sugar you basically take, all right? In the keto practice, obviously, you're not going to do hardly any sugar, if any, for that matter. There are lots of natural sweeteners as well that you can use to kind of make that happen as well. You want to have a lot of greens, okay? Our buddy Casey Krejci of Living Fuel, he's one of our authorities. Him and Thomas DeLauer, for example, all these guys really know this particular field very well. And one of the things they both agree on is that you want to actually eat more leafy greens and actually get more superfoods in your body in order to offset even some potential damage that may have been there from a previous medication or just not eating healthy overall, right? So at the end of the day, avoid fried foods, avoid a lot of sugar, and then avoid toxins, okay? There are man-made toxins that we use on a fairly regular basis for people who are super social, and that comes in the form of tobacco, alcohol, and other substances, okay? Each one of these have a specific effect on the bloodstream and on the brain, right? And when it comes to transforming your life, you need to be mentally sharp really at all times in order to get the furthest, the fastest, all right? So no fried foods, limit the amount of sugar, avoid toxins, okay? That's Diet 101. I know we could go super deep into this, but I would rather you talk to some of my mentors in this field like Thomas DeLauer and Casey Krejci, things of that nature, okay? So let's go on to the next one. One of the ones that I like to kind of mention now is hydration or water. Now you would think we might lump that in the diet category. The reason I chose to break it out is because for me it's an independent focus, okay? I personally have chosen not to drink soft drinks, even though they taste good. I've chosen not to drink sweet tea, which we got a lot of here in the South, okay? All of those things taste great, but they're horrible because of the amount of sugar that goes inside of that. Take an average bottle or can of Coca-Cola, for example. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that you can find where they actually pour Coca-Cola on a rusted bumper and it takes the rust off the bumper. All right, if it will take the rust off a bumper, can you imagine what it's doing to your digestive system? All right, that's where hydration comes into play. I personally like to drink water, specifically natural spring water. I am a fan of Fiji and probably Boss water, okay? Those are 2 of my personal favorites. And I do my best to drink water all the way throughout the day for a lot of different reasons. First of all, it helps circulation because your body is now hydrated to the point where it doesn't have to concentrate its efforts in running different parts of the body. Second of all, it also backfills muscle tissue and things of that nature for those who are trying to work out a little more often. Third of all, it helps you eliminate toxins and other things in the body at a quicker pace, all right, through the process of elimination. I recommend drinking water all the time, all right? I've drank so much water nowadays that I actually understand or actually can taste the difference between a bottle of Dasani, Aquafina, Boss, Fiji, you name it, right? Once you drink enough of that, you can actually taste the difference, all right? Water is actually really good. It takes you probably about 3 weeks to get used to drinking it on a regular basis rather than a soda or something like that. You'll probably also notice that if you've been drinking a lot of sodas and you've been drinking a lot of sweet tea and things of that nature that are loaded in sugar, you'll probably drop 5 to 10 pounds almost immediately over the course of about 2 weeks, right? So there's some pretty substantial benefits to staying hydrated. The entire premise is we're running an engine, right? So if you have an automobile, you want that car to run. You want it to get you from point A to point B at a reliable pace, and you don't want it to break down, all right? The body's the same way. Fried food, sugars in the diet category, obviously if there's toxins there, it's gonna hinder your progress. And then if there's high contents of sugar and other toxins in your hydration phase, it's also gonna cause you problems, all right? Now, I'm not saying that all of these things are bad in of themselves. Now, would you benefit from cutting a lot of that, if not all of that out? Sure. However, the reality is you just want to limit the amount of intake so it doesn't take over your overall machine, if you will, your metabolism, okay? All right, moving on. So now that we've actually fed our body some of the things that we need to use, we want to make sure that we consistently have proper blood flow, right? Well, proper blood flow is best handled through cardio routines, right? Without getting into anaerobic and things of that nature and kind of keep this at a super high level, 20 minutes a day, right? Of just an average, a walk, a run, a jog, something to raise and elevate your heart rate will help you stay healthier longer. Now, if you're able to do high impact training, things of that nature, and really kind of skyrocket your metabolism, your heart rate and things of that nature, great, fantastic. If you're not, you want to start with 20 minutes a day of basic brisk walking or running or jogging, okay? The idea is to raise the heart rate, okay? To push blood through at a regular level. Right? Your resting heart rate should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 to 65 on an average human, on an average, call it 25 to maybe 35, all right? It's important to know this because your brain is functioning off the nutrients you give it and the blood flow, okay? If those two things are limited, then what's gonna happen is you're really gonna struggle to kind of have a high level of processing speed. You know, if you wanna take it to the next level, throw some omega-3s in your diet, things of that nature, right? Some fish oils. Right? Spend time trying to amplify your overall mentality and kind of use the contents and use the parts and pieces that make your brain operate at a particular level, okay? And cardio will actually help that happen. The next phase is obviously strength training, okay? You see a lot of folks a lot of times who are going on these crazy fasts and these diet journeys and stuff like that, and then they'll start working out and they'll actually be heavier when they weigh themselves, and then it makes them stop altogether. What you don't realize is muscle typically weighs more than fatty tissue. And because of that, then what happens is people will give up too soon, right? The reason for muscle tone is not necessarily to look good, right? Right? That's a benefit, fantastic. But the reason for muscle tone is because it's gonna help you keep some elasticity in your muscle fibers and your muscle tissue. It's gonna allow your joints to expand and contract, right? You want these specific areas to have the most mobility you possibly can, so you can actually, if you have to sit down for 45 minutes or extended periods of time, your body's able to recover and actually get the stretching and essentially the things that they need for that, okay? Strength training is important. Doesn't have to be super fancy. You don't have to go to the gym and look like a gorilla, although if you do, fantastic. I think that's one of my goals. But you do want to make sure that you're getting enough movement in your day to actually make sure you're making some headway in your journey, okay? Final thing, rest. I can tell you that historically, I've been really, really good for the most part at these areas, okay? The first 4 areas. I'm good with my diet historically. I don't eat a lot of junk, right? I consistently drink water. I consistently do some cardio, and then I consistently do strength training or weightlifting, and there's lots of different forms, okay? I do these really well. The one thing I took for granted more than anything else was this rest phase. I took this for granted for so long, and I couldn't figure out why I always felt like I was burnt out. Why did I'm doing all these other things right. Why in the world am I always burnt out? Simple. I didn't stop. I didn't stop to let my muscle fibers heal, let my brain take a brief moment of relaxation, right? I didn't stop to reflect. I didn't stop to transition to a place of rest. I recommend at least 1 day a week where you rest, big time, okay? We at the Journey Principles call it a replenishment cycle, right? It's an intentional time that you are taking time away from everything else in which you're replenishing, okay? This rest/replenishment cycle is built on a few things. First of all, what are you going to do? Who are you going to be with? And where are you going to go? Okay? If you would listen, these 3 things. Who am I going to be with? Where am I going to go? And what am I going to be doing? Okay, I said there's a different order, but same 3 things. These 3 areas need to be part of a rest plan. So for example, my normal phase of rest is on a Saturday or a Sunday, I'm going to wake up slowly, right, at my own pace. I'm going to have coffee with my beautiful wife, Karen. We're going to watch a little church on the TV during the COVID thing, or we're going to be in the sanctuary here at a live event center during an opportune time. I'm going to intentionally slow my pace down. I'm not going to pick up my MacBook and start doing content. I'm not going to be writing content, drawing content, creating whiteboard lessons, right? I'm going to be spending time reflecting, resting, right? I may kick my feet up outside on her screen porch and just spend time with my wife and see how her week went, okay? That is one style of resting. Some of you may decide you want to be by yourself and go to the mountains and go for a brisk walk, right? Maybe nature's your thing, right? I love movies. Sometimes I'll just skip out and I'll just go to a movie and just literally hang out by a movie by myself. Rest is going to give you the practice and principle of perseverance over time. You'll avoid feeling burnout, and you'll be able to keep going at a high level. The mistake that I made was I kept going, only to discover that my burnout was actually causing me to be less productive than before. When I went back and added my day of rest in, then what happened is I actually become about twice as productive the following week. So if you're feeling burned out and you're doing all these other things well, then your problem's probably rest. Okay. These are the 5 areas that I think you should focus on if you sincerely want to keep your physical machine running at peak performance, keep your brain clear, keep the mentality going, and also get rid of despair and all these other different weird feelings that come with being burnt out. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Hey, it's Connor with The Journey Principles. If you enjoyed that lesson on improving your physical health, you should totally get our free ebook linked in the description of this video. Also, do us a favor and like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Life Mastery video.